It's Always Sunny is probably the best sitcom ever made. It's eminently memeable, extremely well written and acted, and manages to tap into deeper ideas without affecting the overall tone of the show. The writer's mastery of the medium can be shown through the season 14 episode Waiting for Big Mo, based off the play Waiting for Godot. It's essentially a pre-produced one-act play, but it's consistently funny and gripping. They filmed an extremely entertaining episode of TV in one set. I get that's the premise of bottle episodes, but it's so fast-paced and entertaining that you barely even notice it was only done in one location. To me, this episode proves that the characters are inherently funny. It's not required for them to be doing their shenanigans on a $100 million cruise ship, but it's great when they do. One of the greatest strengths of the series is its consistent quality. Every episode is a banger. There is not a single one that doesn't have a massive number of funny jokes in it. Right? Even when the episode doesn't work out like it usually does, they always try something new, so it's at least entertaining. But there is an episode most evil, with the most sinister, sorrowful siren song that shrouds your senses in a sea of sadness. Welcome to the Land of Nightmares, Season 16, Episode 3. This episode was written by David Hornsby, who is a longtime writer and actor of the show who plays cricket. This thing is a fucking abomination. It personally murdered my dad and fucked my wife, and I will never forgive it for weeks. This one is no one's favorite. You can make a case for basically every other one, but not this. I've seen this episode dozens of times and I don't enjoy it at all. It's so fucking boring. If you're a fan of the show, you probably only recognize it as a forgettable episode from season 16, but this is different. It's not an ambitious idea that didn't quite work. It's intentionally designed to be bad. You might even remember enjoying the episode, and that's because you've been tricked by the fact that you love the show in the first place. David Hornsby is a genius, and I will be sending him a ransom note immediately after making this video. If you don't understand what I'm saying, that is because your brain is atrophied, but the general thesis of this video is that it's a troll episode. To explain why it's bad, I'm going to do an overly long recap that you will hate. Here is your opportunity to watch the episode before I spoil it. If you're back from watching it and thinking, that wasn't that bad, why is he so annoyed at it? You are shrouded in ikasia. We start off with Mac reading an email word for word.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, guys. Congratulations, Patty's Pub. We are pleased to report that we are interested in featuring your bar on an upcoming episode of our show. We will be sending a producer to do a walkthrough soon. Warmly, your friends at Bar Rescue! Yes!
I think this is shit for a few reasons. Number one, you're not letting the characters speak for themselves. I have no doubt that the writers were perfectly capable of writing a funny way of saying that, but they decided not to. Number two, it's just show don't tell. And number three, Mac and the rest of the gang are far too proud of Paddy's Pub to think it needs to be rescued. They see their bar as an extension of themselves, and therefore perfect. Granted, this is something that they bring up later in the episode.
How the bar comes across is a reflection of how I come across.
Yes.
Okay, and I, for one, don't want to be known as a silverfish man.
But not any way that leads it to a satisfying conclusion. These characters are fun because they're always doing some shit. Take the classic season 4 episode The Gang Solves the Gas Crisis.
How are we supposed to scale back our energy costs when you are filling this generator with gasoline?
Yeah, bro, since when did you start running the bar on a gas generator?
About a week ago. I've been doing it for about a week.
Why would you do that?
Well, because, electricity's so expensive, man. So I figured let's get a generator and, run the bar on it.
If that isn't a strong opening, I have no idea what is. My main issue with this episode is that the characters act completely out of sync with their previous iterations.
I'm a little disappointed that you didn't tell me earlier, because I would have been working out for weeks in preparation. I mean, for God's sakes, man, what if my shirt falls off?
Is this the golden god that we know and love? Is this not the man that can make ladies swoon through his perfect physique? Is he not a Vitruvian man?
I am also constantly in motion. Like right now, dude, I am doing leg lifts that are imperceptible to the human eye. Call them hummingbirds. And although I seem relaxed, I'm actually incredibly tense at all times.
There's no horrible, rude disagreement. Dennis's one moment of anger is extremely subdued.
Yeah, so that means we are still cursed.
No, shit, it doesn't. There is no curse. Okay, Mac, no, you were never lucky.
For reference, here's an absolute fucking classic that I love.
I have contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves! Begone, vile man! Begone from me! A starter car! This car is a finisher car! A transporter of gods! The Golden God! I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
It's not just the performance, but the music that adds greatly to the comedic timing. In the Cursed episode, there isn't anything like this. No pain, no fear, no time, no here. After the title card, Dennis is sweeping. He's doing actual work around the bar. Dee enters the bar and her face is drooping. She says not to laugh at her, and then they immediately do. To be clear, this is not a joke, it's just facial paralysis. You're not meant to be laughing along with these characters.
Guys, we have a problem, but whatever you do, don't laugh.
This is a kind of anti-joke known as a no-soap radio joke. You want to laugh, maybe you did laugh, but the joke is nonsense. You only want to laugh because other people are laughing.
How about this one? Two penguins are driving in a car. The driver says, "Hey, could you change the radio station?" And the other one says, "No radio, 4 wheels."
The characters never laugh at funny jokes. They're meant to be the opposite of real humans. Everything they think is wrong, every emotion they feel is inappropriate, and therefore every single thing they think is funny is bullshit.
It's an intestinal parasite incapable of complex thought.
You just described my ex-husband.
She spouts off shit one-liners that everyone except the audience laughs at, and this is important because you're supposed to be laughing at the characters and not with them. Good character comedy about bad people tends to have this attribute of opposites. Check out this Patrick Bateman interview.
What do you like about Patrick Bateman?
What do I like?
Yeah.
I like nothing about him. I mean, he's a completely unredeeming character, you know, and I didn't attempt to make him sympathetic at all. But what makes him entertaining is the fact that
he has no redeeming value.
But at the same time, he finds himself in so many ridiculous situations and reacts in such a ridiculous manner.
This is a fundamental cornerstone of character comedy with bad people. They're meant to be twisted simulacra of real people. Like American Psycho, It's Always Sunny is a completely atheistic show. There are no supernatural figures overseeing the characters' actions, they just exist. And more importantly, what the characters do believe is completely irrelevant. Dennis thinks he himself is God, Mac is a Catholic, Charlie is Charlie. Every time that the characters do think that something supernatural happened to them, it turns out that they're a bunch of idiots and there's a perfectly logical explanation that they missed. The initial incident, if you can even call it that, is when Dennis forgets how to speak and then Frank finds blood in his egg, I guess.
Let's just stop and think for a second, okay? Like, Dee, did you have any run-ins with anyone who might have put a curse on you?
When Charlie asks Dee whether or not she could have been cursed, the correct response would be, "Charlie, you're an idiot, stop talking." Instead, we get this weird flashback.
I mean, I had a tiny little issue with a neighbor last night.
Where Dee's playing video games with headphones she is not using on the table. Someone knocks on the door and she opens it to find Rhea Perlman, who asks her to keep the noise down and gives her some brownies. For reference, this is how loud Dee was speaking.
Yes! Spewing my hate all over your teenage asses.
Instead of grabbing the brownies and immediately slamming the door in her face, Dee decides to bring her a trophy that says Cunt of the Year. They could have had a funny exchange with creative swearing, threats, insults, whatever. David Hornsby would implicitly know that having some kind of argument is immediately more entertaining. Every argument scene is an opportunity to show your chops as a writer. The prop itself isn't inherently funny, it's supposed to be an assistant.
Just don't mention...
Busting out the anthrax!
No!
Anthrax in a vacuum is not funny, but the fact that these characters have it is. And equally as funny, all of the tension is diffused when Danny DeVito licks it to find out that it's powdered sugar. Not only is the premise of this prop funnier, it actually goes somewhere. It's a jumping off point, not the whole joke. Rhea Perlman, for some reason, takes the trophy and says this.
You are a nasty woman, and bad things are going to happen to you one day. I guarantee it.
Using his massive intellect, Charlie concludes that Rhea Perlman cursed Dee. Then this weird-ass interaction about the trophy happens.
But honestly, for me, this raises an even bigger concern.
Okay, what's that?
Dee had no right to give that trophy away. I mean, we worked very, very hard on that.
We did. It's not easy to make something.
Plus, she earned it, right? She earned it.
And you earned it, and you're just gonna give it away?
The characters act completely normally, and it's awful. It's the opposite of what the show should be, extreme emotions in quick succession.
And I was nice to them, I was cordial, and they completely goddamn disrespected me. Little idiots! Idiots!
Plus, they apparently made the trophy, even though it looks professionally made. You're trying to tell me that Frank has amazing woodworking skills? I could understand if you thought I was reading too deeply into this minor prop, but it's not my fault. The Sunny crew put amazing amounts of effort into each prop that they use. They make sure it's relevant to the story, they make sure it's funny, and this prop feels considerably less thoughtful. Why do they care if Dee gives away the trophy? It's just hanging out at her apartment and they don't go there. Frank asks Charlie how his bloody egg relates to the curse.
What about my egg? You know what that might have been? You might have gotten cursed when you killed that seabird.
Weird thing to do considering that Frank knows that Charlie is an idiot and also apparently now believes in curses. he's truly the worstest, with enough rhymes that spread throughout the boundless universes. Throughout the entire thing, none of the actors' performances imply that the characters even give a shit about what's happening in the episode. I will say that it's a passable episode of TV, but it doesn't feel like Sunny at all. I really don't like the introduction or presentation of this flashback.
Seabird.
Oh, I didn't tell you guys about this? Okay, so the other day, Frank's making a banana daiquiri. Seagull flies right near the bar.
I'm not a showrunner, let alone a good one, like David Hornsby for instance, but surely it just seems wrong to say what happens in the flashback before it happens. Just like in a mystery story, in a comedy you want to drip feed new information in an entertaining way. There's a massive continuity error where Charlie's drink is half finished even though they just poured it. There's no way they didn't notice this, right? The baseball bat just kind of appears in DeVito's hand. His hand is obscured in the previous shots intentionally, so I guess it could have been under the bar, but I doubt it, and this is a disgrace to Chekhov's gun. Wouldn't it have been better to introduce the bat before it gets used, or better have Frank shoot the gull? Frank having a gun on him would be completely in character.
Die! Frank! Jesus! Come here! Die! Jesus! God damn! And die, you fucking seagull bitch! Fucking cunt!
After Frank tries to hit the seagull with a metal baseball bat, it just kind of flies around. The continuity is completely off. Its flight path is not completely shown on the screen, but I think it's safe to say that animals run away from people who are attacking them. No way Frank can outrun a seagull. There's unnecessary, completely tone-inappropriate music left in. The camera angles and cinematography are extremely fucked up. Even the color grading is weird. The seagull prop also looks like shit. Why is there no seagull gore? I want to see seagull gore. Also note the complete lack of good dialogue or humor whatsoever. Sunny has a cartoonish vibe while also being realistic insofar as actions lead to consequences. Why does that not apply here? Plus, Frank had no real motivation for killing this animal. He could have had a very funny reason for doing it, like maybe he wanted seagull meat, I don't fucking know. Yes, Frank is an evil person, but he has to have reasons, motivations for doing what he does. He's a complete hedonist who would want to go to his fucking banana daiquiri. And Charlie has nothing to do in this entire scene. He just kind of tells Frank to stop. The whole fun of this series is watching these characters mix and play off each other's ridiculous traits. Matt keeps reiterating that the entire reason that good things are happening to him is because of the monkey paw.
It's a monkey paw, and I think it's good luck, like a rabbit's foot or something like that, because ever since I found it, nothing but good things have happened. Ever since I found this monkey's paw, my luck has totally turned around. I found this monkey paw, and it's brought me really good luck.
Mac is a character who has consistently shown himself to believe that the only reason good things happen to him at all is because of his own effort.
What am I supposed to be thankful for, exactly? You know, who am I meant to be thanking, right?
I don't know, like, I've had to scratch and claw for everything I've got. If anything, I should be thanking myself.
Even though he says out loud that he thinks that God is the reason all things happen, he truly believes that only good things happen because he made it so. But what good things are happening exactly? Like Bar Rescue emailing him back? Then Mac would be bragging about the fact that he managed to bring something good to the bar. The monkey paw is only introduced about halfway through the episode. Sonny operates under the general rule, the eviler, the truer. Mac needs to have the worst religious beliefs. The worser the religious opinion, the mackier it is. The monkey paw is just a monkey paw, it doesn't grant wishes. It's just supposed to be a fucking monkey's paw. Why does Chase Utley steal it? Additionally, Charlie only starts talking about curses when Frank's egg cracks and it has blood in it and Dennis can't speak, even though he heard Cricket curse Mac the very day before. That's the intended problem with the retconning in this episode. Mac and Cricket are talking about a deal where Cricket brings Mac to meet Chase Utley, a footballer who Mac has been lusting after for decades.
Dear Chase, oh shit, there's stickers.
Yeah.
My God, oh,
Well,
this
you gotta
is good.
jazz it up, you
Yeah,
know?
you sure do.
I wanna make it
You
pop.
sure do. Dear Chase, I feel like I can call you Chase because you and me are so much alike. Really, I would love to meet you someday. It would be great to have a catch. I know I can't throw as fast as you, but I think you would be impressed with my speed. I love your hair. You run fast. Did you have a good relationship with your father? Me neither. These are all things we can talk about and more. I know you have not been getting my letters because I know you would write back if you did, and I hope you write back this time and we get to be good friends. I am sure our relationship would be a real home run.
Mac is embarrassed to be seen talking to Cricket in front of Charlie, so they both verbally abuse him until he leaves. So Cricket brings a curse upon Mac.
Hey, Mac. A curse on you. Vos omnes maledicte vineanis.
Cricket is a former priest with a master's in theology who rescinded his faith after having his life ruined by the gang.
Well, I was a priest, I have a master's in theology, and I have a lot...
I mean, that's God's work. Well, Not that I believe in God. I don't. Not since that Chinaman stole my kidney.
I probably too would conclude that God didn't exist if I met these people. By extension, Cricket does not believe curses are real, or at least we're supposed to assume that until the show says otherwise. I usually like this show subverting my expectations, but not my expectations of quality. Do we seriously want to say that Cricket believes that curses are real, learned how to do them, assumed that the gang also believed in them, and then cast one on Mac? And that's the reason that all of this weird shit is happening. No, of course not. At the end of the episode, it turns out the curses weren't real, and the reason that Cricket's life is horrible is because of the gang. Everyone already knew both of these things. Why does Cricket do any of this shit? At this point of the show, Cricket would need some serious convincing to talk with the gang in the first place. They've abused him so many times that he should be terrified of them. They always have to goad him into their schemes. But here, he's just kind of hanging out with them. What is the fucking point of this episode? What is it even about? Is it about finding out whether curses are real? Is it about bar rescue? Is it about Chase Utley? Is it about lifting the curse? Is it about finding out why all of the weird shit is happening? The 2023 mystery movie A Haunting in Venice has a lot of scenes with supernatural looking shit happening, and a lot of the movie is framed around the debate over whether the events happen because of natural or supernatural means. Of course, it turns out that there's a naturalistic explanation for everything. They were seeing things because they were being drugged, but could you imagine if they went for the supernatural explanation? People were murdered by spirits. The end. Personally, I would burn down the theatre for even trying to show that movie to me. This is basically like if the Sunny writers wrote an episode about whether God was real, and at the end, it turns out that God isn't real. The illustrious Who Pooped the Bed and the irreplaceable Who Got Dee Pregnant are both excellent mystery stories. They've already proven themselves to be extremely talented with this genre. The fake-out explanation is that there was no curse. Dee's face drooping was caused by mold, the bloody egg was a seagull egg and then mixed it up, even though the seagull Frank killed wasn't in the bar long enough to lay an egg. Rob McElhenney's performance as Mac is fucking terrible in this episode. Mac used to be very funny, and now he is a shadow of his former self. It feels like the acting and delivery, but it might be the writing. There were so many moments in this episode where I thought the joke was going to go one step further and be hilarious. Instead it just ends there and they move on. No laugh from me. 2 stars from Rich12169. Rob McElhenney is not alone. Pretty much every actor gives a piss poor performance. In my opinion, you could chalk that up to reasonable coincidence if every single other actor didn't give an amazing performance in every other episode. And such a strange one in this one. I'm specifically pointing out McElhenney's performance in here because it really steals the show with how stilted and awkward it is. And I don't mean awkward as in cringe comedy. If that is what they are attempting here, it fails miserably, and they do it really well in basically every other episode. The episode overall just feels so strange. It's so confusing as well. It's very much not the simple concept to complex outcome pipeline that Sunny usually is. Dennis asks Charlie how he knows about curses.
Charlie, how do you know all this curse stuff? Yeah.
And we know that Dennis thinks that Charlie is an idiot that knows nothing. Is the explanation for this that Charlie genuinely has the wherewithal to convince Dennis that curses are real? He should be doing great creative insults about how Charlie is a fucking idiot. I'm gonna say again how little they argue during this whole thing. The meat and potatoes of the show is the arguing. That is where all of the good dialogue is. Dennis and Dee go back to Dee's apartment to apologize to Rhea Perlman so that they can get the trophy back. Dennis says that he believes that Dee has Bell's palsy, which is a weird thing for him to say because he does not give a shit about Dee's health situation. Dennis acts completely out of character here. He seems to care about Dee, he apologizes on her behalf, and he even thanks Rhea Perlman for the trophy. Why does he care about getting the trophy back if it's just going straight back to Dee's apartment? I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that these characters act purely out of self-interest. They've already demonstrated his evil in almost every way possible to the screen. This man is a monster. Why ain't he monstering? Rhea Perlman still has the trophy for some reason, so she goes into her apartment to get it. Black Cat runs out, and Dee doesn't notice, so Dennis tells her, and Dee spits over her shoulder because Charlie said to do it previously. I don't know why she would trust Charlie, or why she would believe in curses in the first place. There was no real impetus for it. Anyway, she spits over her shoulder into Rhea Perlman's face, who immediately finds a cloth to wipe herself with. They ask her if she has a cat, and she says that her cat has been dead for years. Either she's lying, or Dennis was hallucinating, or there was a cat but somehow Rhea Perlman didn't know about it. Or is the curse real? Who knows? The episode doesn't seem to know. Dee calls Rhea Perlman a cunt, and Dennis is like, man, wow, that was such an embarrassing thing for her to say. Damn, why would you say something like that? I cannot emphasize enough how weak the swearing in this episode is. It's not creative, it's not funny, it's not impactful. Their newfound fuck is used so effectively in the new seasons.
Paul
Holy shit!
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Also, just a side note, one of the best things about Sunny is that they never waste your time. Not the same here, it's very slow, boring, no good dialogue, fuck this episode. There is the occasional good line, but nothing ever comes of it. It's so lifeless and deeply poorly written in comparison to the other ones. They overuse and misuse MacGuffins so much here. Neither ashes, nor trophy, nor baseball bat, nor monkey's paw advance the plot in any meaningful way. After this, the trophy is never even brought up ever again. It's never destroyed, they never do anything fun with it. Why is it here? Mac is outside with Cricket in an unspecified yellow van. It's not the rape van or the limo that they fill with trash. Where did this vehicle come from? They're outside of Chase Utley's apartment so Mac can harass him. There are so many lines in this scene that just don't make any sense. He should be saying, "Where's my six-pack, Mac? You promised me a six-pack." And it's devoid of anything particularly funny. The bit where Mac buys Cricket a six-pack, which actually turns out to be a four-pack, which actually turns out to be a two-pack, doesn't make the obvious conclusion of, wait, it's actually a zero-pack. Cricket ends up with a beer that Mac bought with his own money. He actually does something relatively nice for him. This will not do. Any reasonable person knows that Cricket's life must be made worse by any interaction with the gang whatsoever. One of the most nice things that the gang have ever done for Cricket is give him a bag of lemons instead of the chicken they promised him. That's the level we're at here. Cricket lifts the curse.
Dominus Spiritus Sanctum, okay? You're off.
What was that?
I was lifting the curse that I put on you.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't believe in curses.
And it's revealed that Mac didn't even believe it in the first place. Like, why would he? I've tried not to explain the plot as just, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, but that's genuinely what it's like. The pace is so off here. It takes forever to get anywhere, and each character is split into their own thing, and it never feels coherent. Just really repetitive with no real payoff. 4 stars from Avazansky. If there's one thing Always Sunny understands, it's setup and payoff, and this whole episode is nothing but setup. Any writer knows not to do this shit, let alone good ones. Max shows Cricket the monkey paw, and then looks out the window with binoculars to find Chase Utley. Utley does not immediately call security on this man. The entire fun of the Chase Utley bit is that Mac makes increasingly insane, fruitless efforts to try and contact him. This episode commits the cardinal sin. It gives Mac what he wants. They reveal that Chase Utley has already received Mac's letters and read them out on video. Again, this was completely retconned. Chase Utley doesn't even read the words that are on the page.
Dear Mac, I feel like I can call you Mac because you called me Chase. Thank you for the compliment on my hair. It's my 4th favorite thing after baseball, running fast, and my dad. I'm sorry your dad doesn't like you. Maybe you could become a better son. Meeting you and having a game of catch sounds like a lot of fun, but like I said, I'm really busy playing a lot of baseball for the Phillies. I hope you have a good life. Fans like you make my life a grand slam. Your good friend, Chase.
They do the same thing where they read something verbatim. Maybe you could become a better son bit is mildly funny, but it doesn't really go anywhere. It's not really this sharp, intentional kind of humor that you usually get with Sunny. Mac lies about having a child that's sick, so Chase Utley decides to oblige this random man and play catch with his kid. Rob McElhenney's performance in this scene is particularly bad. Also, the clip is labeled with Chase Mailbag, but he's reading a written response that he made. But Mac's stickers are still on there. Doesn't make any sense!
I thought Mac was a little kid.
Yes, there's a child. A child born unto me. Little Mac.
What?
He's Little Mac, I'm Big Mac, and you shall have a catch with him. Your hair is throwing me, and it's making me very nervous. On the Dodgers, yes, you were the Silver Fox. Philadelphia, you were just the Fox.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty busy.
Yes. We're all busy, but the boy is sick. He's very sick. He's dying. He's got leukemia, and you shall have a catch with him.
Where's my car?
I'll tweet that you didn't. I'm sorry, I threatened you. Now I'm upset, and so are you. A catch we shall have later today.
Okay. Maybe, but for like 5 minutes tops.
Yes.
I'm really busy.
Yes. Yes.
I'm very sorry for showing you that entire clip, but god fucking damn. It is devoid of any good dialogue, and his performance is so goddamn bad. At the climax of every episode, you get in jokes every 3 seconds, sometimes even higher. This scene's just a bunch of fucking wet farts. What is this? Mac has a kind of weird charisma that he just lacks in this scene. It's in the acting and writing. They had perfectly good celebrity performances in the exact same season. Unlike the Celebrity Booze episode, this one doesn't have them do anything fun or evil. I guess he steals the monkey paw, but he had no reason to do it because it's just a fucking paw of the monkey. Hey, where's the bit where he actually could have a catch with Chase Utley, but says something so ridiculous and offensive that he says no? He doesn't even get pepper sprayed. This scene is where I started to consider that this might actually be a troll episode. McElhenney is a completely fantastic, incredibly talented actor that pulls off excellent performances in literally every single other episode of this entire goddamn show. Is David Hornsby playing me like a goddamn fiddle? What is he doing? Charlie and Frank come to Uncle Jack's birthday party where, I'm being serious here, Mac's mom is not smoking a cigarette. Charlie says Frank killed a seagull, and Charlie's mom screams, waking up Mac's mom. Why did this happen? Charlie's mom acts completely out of character here. She's like the bearer of knowledge in this scene, when a massive part of her character is that she's oblivious, just like Charlie. There's no fuck up where the characters make an awful scheme and everything goes down the toilet. It's just a fucking piece of shit episode. They never get into a fight, none of the fun, offensive shit. Dennis takes Maureen Ponderosa's ashes from under the bar, where they are apparently stored for some reason. It's an object with no purpose to the plot that's used as a crutch, just like the trophy. Hornsby is not stupid, he's been such a great writer for the show for so long. Mac tells Cricket to get a kid, like the kid he was lying about, and he brings him a twink, but this is besides the point, because Mac wouldn't be able to have a fucking catch with Chase Utley. That's the entire thing that he wants to do, it would be this kid. The entire plot relies on the monkey from season 15, and if you didn't know the reference, you wouldn't find it funny whatsoever, and also if you do.
Well, actually it wasn't just a paw, it was a whole monkey behind the kegs, and he was dead. He had this cash in his hand, and when I went to grab the cash, the whole hand just like kind of popped out, and I've been carrying it around ever since. So, monkey in the bar, right? Totally random.
Well, that's not random at all. Well, that's probably the monkey that worked here, robbed us, and fucked our faces.
You get stuck
It's behind the kegs?
Well, actually, I found him by the office, but I kicked him behind the kegs because I didn't feel like cleaning him up.
God damn it! Oh, he is decomposing, and there's also a shit ton of mold back there.
I don't know how I missed that.
Mac is allowed to monologue for so long without anyone interrupting him. The mold, the silverfish, the monkey's corpse, we never actually see it on screen, even though that's something that they would need to do if they are going for the gross out joke, which it seems like they are. Mac kicked the monkey behind the keg so he wouldn't have to clean it up, which is in character, but they can't smell it for the rest of the scene till he points it out. It's like the opposite of environmental storytelling. Charlie even says, I don't know how I missed that, as if they knew that it didn't make sense.
God damn, what's that smell?
What smell?
Oh, it's Ralphie. Must have got trapped in here. Looks like he's fused to the carpet.
Uh-huh. Is that a cat?
It was.
Well, that is grotesque. I can't believe I don't smell that.
Stinks.
This is already a much better example of them doing the animal's corpse gross out bit. Frank immediately notices the smell, it's horrible looking, and the reason Dennis can't smell it is because he has COVID. Something that I'd like to mention about the plot is that it's built on self-references to other parts of the show. This is bad because people who don't know the show will feel left out. The writers are usually very diligent about making sure a bit is funny even if you don't know what it's referencing. They only tastefully self-reference usually. But I guess not. In this one, the self-referential things directly advance the plot. And advance is a strong word here because it doesn't go anywhere. There is no way they didn't know. In The Gang Recycles Their Trash, they make fun of this style of writing. And it's acknowledged that this kind of self-referential humor is lazy, but they do it in an incredibly funny and creative way.
Yeah, but dude, like that's the exact kind of thing that can lead to a curse.
Yeah. I know. Yes. Okay, I get that now.
So Dennis apparently now believes in curses? This godless, horrible little man now believes that there are, like, morals and, like, moral cause and effect and shit like that. And he believes Charlie, who he knows to be an idiot. Why does he believe in curses? They bring Chase Utley to a pet cemetery with a grave labelled Mac 2013 to 2023 with paw marks. The grave is noticeably withered and old, even though it would have to be a brand new grave for the plot to make sense. Why is it so withered if it died in 2023? Who? What? When? Why? How? Again, the gang would have had to make it even though it looks professionally made. How did they get this into a genuine pet cemetery? We know that this prop was custom made for the show, so why did they specifically want it withered? It's because they know it's a troll that they know... Did any of this really happen? They would have had to specifically make this prop, the characters, for this scheme. So how did they make it? And why did they make it dirty? Why would they want to help out Mac with his insane pipe dream? Mac gives another astoundingly bad performance. He then shows Chase Utley the monkey paw.
You're right. Actions do have consequences, and I'm really sorry, man. I think...
Hall of Fame, baby, here I come!
Ronald McDonald says, actions do have consequences and I'm really sorry. It's very important to the story that these characters never learn anything and they never grow or change as people. So Chase Utley steals this ostensibly worthless monkey paw and then the rest of the gang inexplicably show up at the same time. What the fuck? They go with the really stupid comedy trope of, oh, it was just one big misunderstanding, and that's a trope that they've made fun of in the past. Frank accidentally had a seagull egg because they mixed them up earlier. It's not the result of a well-developed plot thread where the information is revealed in a fun way. Dennis gets slightly angry when Charlie says they're still cursed. Again, Dennis is most certainly not one to get a little bit angry. Dee has fucking nothing to say in this entire goddamn scene, and in this whole episode. I would like to tack on that, especially in the newer seasons, Caitlin Olsen delivers wonderful performances.
And for Christ's sake, ignore the script, okay? You're better than a writer, right? Writers are dorks.
She really flexes her talent as a performer in these newer ones, and the character of Dee would have completely lost her shit if she had any kind of facial abnormality. Like the rest of the gang, she's a complete narcissist and would have worried that she would have been unattractive. This one is filled to the brim with so many scenes where only one of the characters have anything to do, and the other characters are rendered completely superfluous. Throughout this whole thing, I've been pretending like it's a real episode or like a regular episode, but it's obviously not. Dennis explains that everything happened because of mold. Where did the mold go? What happened to Dee? Who cleaned it up? He notices Cricket and does not berate him for any reason. Cricket just chimes in, I guess.
Whoa. What about me? What about my luck?
I don't know, Crix. I guess there's no real explanation as to why bad things would happen to you.
It's just one of those things,
That's
Cricket.
life,
You know,
man.
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Cloud
It is
following
what
you
it is.
around.
It
That's
is
all there is
what
to it.
It is what
Nice
it
day.
is.
We end off in a complete non sequitur, where they don't play the outro music that would make sense for the end of the episode. In conclusion, I didn't enjoy this one very much. There are so many unanswered questions that this episode brings up, and I do not care to list them all. If you can make heads or tails of this episode, please tell me. I don't get what it was going for, and it failed at what it was going for. Now, if it was trying to be a troll episode, then it did not succeed, because most people just liked it. They liked it because there were some of their favourite characters, and there was some good lines salted and peppered in. This is possibly the only episode that has absolutely nothing special about it. Any kind of parody episode has to deviate massively from what the original show does. And it seems that deviating from the original suddenly causes a terrible show, go figure. Moreover, I don't think that there's anything particularly fun or artistic about just making something bad. It's weirdly cynical, and I don't think that was the intended effect. This episode takes place in an alternate reality where the Sonny writers don't know anything. This is the only episode of Sonny that's written in this stilted and unnatural way. Overall, the extremely sparse good lines were definitely not enough to fill the whole episode. The plot's nonsense, it's not funny, it's weird, it's boring. It's everything that a sitcom shouldn't be. If I am indeed wrong about this being a troll episode, this is by far the worst episode of It's Always Sunny I've ever seen, and you can quote me on that. In the rest of the season, they do a perfectly good job of doing what they did in previous seasons, advance the characters and make them worse. That appears to have been completely forgotten about here. There are no good character combinations. Sometimes you get a fun, like, Mac and Dennis episode or a Dee and Charlie episode, but no, not here. Bad dialogue, bad editing, bad color grading, bad acting, bad cinematography? All of the props are completely worthless. Information is only revealed in an indirect, shitty way. Where is the scene where they're all screaming at each other? Where's the rage? I miss the rage. I'll say it again. I have left out so much that is wrong with this episode. Someone more media savvy than me could probably pick out oodles of noodles of information about why this episode fucks up, and I'm giving this one a 4 out of 4. Bravo, Hornsby. You happy? You happy? I reviewed this shit for you. David Hornsby, if you're watching this, I humbly recognize that you've been called out, and I will accept a written apology.